After the exchange of vows, it was time to exchange rings. The priest handed over the rings, and Anton Skovorodnikov, slightly nervous but smiling, put the ring on Asia Vieira's finger. "This ring is a symbol of my love and devotion," he said, looking into her eyes. Asia took the ring and carefully put it on Anton's finger. "This ring is a sign of my faith and devotion," she answered, her voice soft and gentle. At that moment, as if in response to their vows, silence reigned in the hall. The guests, excited and touched by the moment, looked at the couple with warmth and joy. Anton and Asia, looking into each other's eyes, felt that they were truly bound together forever. The priest raised his hands, and the words, "I pronounce you husband and wife," his words echoed throughout the hall. This meant that the moment of the kiss had arrived. Silence reigned in the hall, and everyone present froze in anticipation. All eyes were on Anton and Asia, full of awe and excitement. Anton, feeling his heart beat faster, gently pulled Asia towards him. Their eyes met, and they reflected the depth of feelings they had for each other. Asia, smiling, touched his lips, and the moment dragged on, as if time had stopped. The priest, with a slight smile on his lips, looked at the couple, seeing how their love was embodied in this kiss. The guests sitting in the hall sighed quietly, feeling how the magic of this moment filled the air. Anton and Asia touched their lips in a gentle but passionate kiss. It was a kiss that became the crown of their promises and love. Their lips, united in this passionate and sensual kiss, conveyed all the emotions that words could not express. The kiss was long and full of power, as if their entire future path together was enclosed in it. Tenderness and passion intertwined in this moment, and they both felt how all worries and experiences dissolved, leaving only joy and happiness. When they finally pulled away, their faces were illuminated by the light of happiness, and their eyes sparkled with excitement. The guests, seeing this touching moment, could not resist and began to applaud. Their enthusiastic cries filled the hall. Asia and Anton exchanged another look full of love and devotion, and the guests, joyfully applauding, headed to the banquet hall. Noise and fun filled the space, and immediately the spirit of the holiday was felt in the air. The bestman, with a smile full of pride and relief, approached Anton. He winked at him, emphasizing that everything went smoothly, and that this day was truly a success. "You looked absolutely stunning," the bestman said with sincere admiration. "Everything went perfectly." Anton couldn't help but smile and replied, "Thank you. That was incredible. I still can't believe we did it." The banquet hall was decorated with flowers and lights, creating a real festive atmosphere. The tables were set with treats, and waiters served guests, offering them drinks and dishes. The sounds of laughter and cheerful music filled the space, creating a feeling of a real holiday. Anton and Asia entered the hall, their faces glowing with happiness. They were surrounded by loving friends and family, who happily welcomed them. All the guests enjoyed delicious food and drinks, chatted and danced to the live music. "Look how happy everyone is," Asia noted, looking at the dancing guests and happy faces. Anton nodded, hugging her around the waist. "This is just incredible. All this for us." The bestman approached them, holding a glass of champagne in his hands. "Congratulations. You made this day special. Now we can relax and enjoy." Anton and Asia raised their glasses and drank to the beginning of a new life. And when the guests had already begun to relax and enjoy the evening's fun, the door to the hall swung open with such force that several people turned around in shock. Dmitry Vinogradov appeared in the room, looking completely exhausted. His hair was disheveled, and his breathing was ragged, as if he had just run a marathon. "Dmitry!" Anton cried out, seeing his friend. His face broke into a wide smile, despite the surprise of the guests, whose gazes immediately turned to Dmitry, who, twitching with excitement and fanning himself with his hands, was struggling to get to Anton. The atmosphere in the hall became tense, but not for Anton, who was glad to see his friend. "You've been gone for a long time. Where have you been?" Anton asked in surprise, approaching Dmitry. "Skovant, fat mutant, you won't believe what I've been through," Dmitry blurted out after catching his breath. I was almost late. The traffic was a disaster, but I couldn't miss your day. Asia and the other guests watched this dramatic entrance with interest, but Anton just hugged Dmitri like an old friend. I'm so glad you're here, Anton said, laughing heartily. We were starting to worry that you wouldn't make it. Dmitri, smiling, extended his hand to Anton. Of course, I might not make it, but for you, I'm ready to do anything. Greetings from everyone who wanted to be here but couldn't. Anton took him by the shoulder and pulled him to the center of the room so that everyone could see him. The guests began to applaud, and the tension in the air gave way to a friendly atmosphere. Join us, Anton suggested. Here, among friends and family, the most important thing is to be together. Dmitri nodded and, overcoming his fatigue, went to the table, where he was greeted with refreshments and a glass of champagne. At first he started ordering drinks one after another, but soon this led to an effect that no one expected. He, slightly swaying, approached Anton, who was sitting at a table surrounded by guests. Skovent, Dmitri began, his voice a little slower, but still ringing with amusement. Can you imagine how I deployed that last hack? It was real gameplay. I even thought I was about to recognize IP addresses as face control at the entrance to the club. Anton and the other guests looked at each other in surprise. Apparently, no one was prepared for hacker terminology and associated images in the festive atmosphere. Yes, Dmitri, Anton answered, trying to understand what exactly his friend was talking about. How are your codes? Everything okay? Dmitri, not noticing the incomprehension in the eyes of the audience, continued. So I installed proxy servers to bypass that anti-debugging. No, wait, it's like a spam filter on your mail, only in real time. Security, do you know how to deal with this? Proxies, networks. Like in hacker movies. The guests began to look at him with slight anxiety and confusion. Many of them tried to feign interest, but it was clear that their unknown vocabulary did not allow them to fully follow his thought. Dmitri, Anton said, rubbing his forehead and straining a little. Are you okay? Maybe you should rest a little. But Dmitri was full of enthusiasm. You don't understand, Skovent. I managed to make a transaction through probe networks, and all this under fake addresses, as if from the most unpredictable spammer on the net. With each word, Dmitri became more and more incomprehensible, and his enthusiasm only caused more confusion among those present. Despite his difficulties, his joy and desire to share his hacking successes were obvious, and this added a touch of eccentricity to the general fun. Anton, noticing that some of the guests were starting to avoid Dmitri, turned to him with a smile and slight embarrassment. Dmitri, maybe we should make you a special toast. You've already made the evening even more memorable. The guests began to laugh and clap, supporting the idea. Dmitri, not fully understanding what had happened, simply continued to wave his arms cheerfully, although now more and more attention was focused on continuing the party and discussing less complex topics. But soon, being overwhelmed with alcohol and enthusiasm, he began to noticeably tire. His flow of words became increasingly incoherent, and soon he fell staggering onto one of the sofa cushions, leaving the empty bottle beside him. Anton, noticing that Dmitri was no longer in a state to continue the fun, approached Jonathan Sheffer, the composer, who was sitting at the piano and seemed increasingly irritated by the situation. Jonathan, sorry to bother you, but can you help? Anton was serious and a little embarrassed. Dmitri seems to need a place to sleep. We don't want to leave him like this. Jonathan, who had just finished playing a calm melody, tensed up and looked at the drunk Dmitri. His face expressed displeasure, but he quickly pulled himself together so as not to spoil Anton's mood. Well then, Jonathan said, trying to maintain a polite tone. I think I can make room for him. In any case, I don't want to ruin the evening for you and Asia. Anton nodded gratefully, and Jonathan, suppressing his inner irritation, began to prepare to accommodate Dmitri at his home. He took a couple of blankets and pillows from the closet, prepared a place in the guest room. Jonathan turned to Anton's drunk friend, who was snoring carelessly, and said with a light sigh. "Okay, buddy, let's hope you don't start a storm here. I'll go and prepare a place for you to sleep." On the way out, Jonathan barely kept a friendly smile on his face, although inside he felt a slight discontent. His home, cozy and quiet, was supposed to become a haven for this drunken Russian, and this circumstance clearly did not please the composer. However, partly due to politeness and partly due to the desire not to offend Anton, Jonathan reluctantly accepted the situation. Anton was able to breathe a sigh of relief and return to a festive mood. By this point, the guests had already begun to leave, leaving behind bright memories and sparkling smiles. Anton and Asia, surrounded by their loved ones and friends, began to say goodbye. "Thank you all for making this day so special," Asia said, hugging her friends and acquaintances. "We couldn't have asked for better guests." Anton, in turn, sincerely thanked everyone. "Your presence made this day unforgettable. We will keep these memories in our hearts forever." After the last farewell handshake and hugs, Anton and Asia headed to the limo standing at the exit. The limo was decorated with white ribbons and flowers, and its elegant appearance was in perfect harmony with the mood of the party. This day was simply magical, Asia noted, looking at the limo they were about to get into. "I can't wait to spend this night together." Anton opened the limo door for Asia, and when she got in, he followed. They settled into the soft leather seats, and Anton, looking at Asia, felt incredible happiness. "Everything went perfectly," he said, sinking into the seat next to her. "We did it, and now we are starting a new life." "Yes," Asia answered, gently taking his hand. "This day was the beginning of something amazing. I'm so glad we got to walk this path together." The limo pulled away smoothly, and as they drove away from the mansion, Anton and Asia looked at the illuminated streets, leaving behind the hustle and bustle of the holiday. Inside the limo, there was silence, broken only by soft conversation and the sounds of the singing radio. "I think this was the happiest day of my life," Asia said, looking into the eyes of her new husband. "Thank you for everything." Anton hugged her and kissed her, feeling his heart fill with warmth and love. At that moment, the limo, gliding along the night streets, was enveloped in an intimate atmosphere created by the dim lights and soft chair. Anton, leaning towards Asia, whispered, "I still can't believe that we are now husband and wife. It's like a dream." Asia, smiling softly, responded by touching his cheek. "This is not a dream, darling. We did it. And I can't imagine myself with anyone else. You are my only 1 inch." She leaned towards him, and their lips met in a kiss that was both passionate and tender. The inside of the limo was silent, only the sounds of rustling soft fabric, and the light rhythm of music playing on the radio created a pleasant background. "I am so happy that we have each other," Asia said, pulling away a little to look into Anton's eyes. "I can't wait to see what awaits us ahead." Anton, looking at her lovingly, pulled her close, inhaling her scent. "Me too. You are my dream, and I promise to do everything to make every day of ours as amazing as this 1 inch." They kissed again, their lips merging in a soft but deep kiss. Words were superfluous when every touch and glance conveyed the depth of their feelings. The limo continued on its way, and despite the city lights flashing past the windows, there was silence and peace inside, filled only with love and happiness. "We must make every moment special," Asia said, looking at the night city that quickly flashed past the windows. Anton, taking her hand, agreed. "We will. Together. For life." When the limo drove up to the mansion, the night city with its bright lights and sounds was left behind. Their new home appeared before Anton and Asia, a majestic mansion, illuminated by the soft light of street lamps. The house looked especially cozy in the evening light, creating an atmosphere of warmth and peace. Anton, with a smile on his face, could not hold back his happiness. He uncovered the envelope with the tip, handed it to the driver, and without waiting for an answer, opened the door of the limo. "Thank you for everything," he said to the driver, chuckling once more.